Hey folks, we're going to continue working on the martial power system today for 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons. I'm really excited about this. We're going to work on the Banneret. So give me a second here to check my signal. I'm going to go through my intro spiel, and then we'll get to work here for maybe an hour and a half or so. Just waiting for the post to populate. Looks like the post to populate. Cool. So we're going to do that. And then here, and it's just going to take me a moment or three to cycle through my alert stuff on Discord, etc. So I will just bumble my way through the intro here, and then we'll get to work. So my name is Phil Kearney. Hey, I create role-playing games. I illustrate them and then publish them online. I've been focusing my attention on Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition for the past 5 years. There are a slew of links that you can see here currently on screen that are linked down below, except for that Spelljammer book. We're still actively building the Spelljammer book. We're doing the artwork for that Monday through Friday in the morning here, my morning art stream or coffee stream. But otherwise, those books, they're already on the DMsGuild. They all have extensive previews, so you guys can look at different mechanics. If you're a Magic the Gathering enthusiast, you definitely want to check out the color mana spell point variant rules that we created. There's probably about, if you're here for artwork normally, there's probably about 150 different illustrations across just the books that are linked down below. And if you're a D&D enthusiast, then most of the stuff that I build are meant for both players and DMs to make use of at all tiers of play. As a DM, I run through a 20-level campaign from like 1 to 20 and probably around 200, 250 hours on average. I'm kicking through my 4th campaign right now with my home table. We've been playtesting the martial power system, and let's see, how do we intro further from here before we get into it? I just posted that I'm live on Twitter. If you're on that platform still, you can catch me at Phil Kearney to get notification. I always post on Twitter. Until there's a better platform out there, I always post on Twitter that I'm live. And like, subscribe, hit the bell icon here. We're at episode 81 of this. We've been doing this for about once or twice a week for the past year. I've been slow cooking this and playtesting with my home table from level 12 to 19. And I'm going to be opening up playtesting for people that are that are Patreon members for $1 or more. Which is down in the link below. You'll find all the playtest documents for this stuff here. I'll show you real quick. Let's see, playtest content and early looks here at Patreon, and then click down into let's see, the 5-color mana spell point variant rules. That's not what we're looking for. Color comparison. We've been doing the Eldrazi playtest content for martial powers. There we go. If you click on this YouTube stream, you'll find me here. Hi. That's the playlist that we have. This link here to the martial power system, it opens up a Google Doc here that we are currently looking at over here. It's read only. You can look, don't touch. But it's built for level 1 to 20. It has everything that you need to actually run the game. We're almost done with building out the subclasses for the different martial classes in general. Today we're working on the Purple Dragon Knight, more lovingly known as the Banneret, for those that are not in the Forgotten Realms. So as usual, what we do is we look at the class features that are here, we deconstruct them, we then rebuild them to fit into the the martial powers paradigm that we have built for the system. I'm going to pluck it. Here to here. Okay, so we've got the scaffold here to build out the class features, as you can see here when we did the Psy Warrior last week. What we start with is taking the features that are presented in D&D Beyond here, or whatever it evolves to into eventually. We then, if there's no changes needed, if it's just compliance with what we're doing and with what 5e already is, no changes, move on to the next feature. If there are alterations that we can make, we will make those alterations over here in the clipboard. We'll then upload them here, and once we have the features resolved, We're going to build the bonus power list that spellcasters get, that channeling, we call it channeling powers instead of casting spells. There is a full list of all the disciplines of power that we have here. There's about 140 of them. For those that are not already indoctrinated into the system and anxious to see it coming out, welcome to the mix. Would love to have you sticking around, checking this out, all the artwork. Once this is done, we'll send it off to an editor. They'll kick it back to us. And then, like you see in the morning copy stream, Monday through Friday, we then parse out the pages into a layout. And then all the gaps in the layout we fill with artwork. And then we seal it into a PDF, publish it, and it'll have an extensive free preview like everything else down below. And it will be bundled with the color mana spell point variant rules. These are already 35% off on the DMsGuild. Once the martial powers gets dropped in there, it'll probably be like 40 some odd % off all this stuff. And in 2024, once the 1D&D gets converted to 6e or whatever that thing is going to become, we're going to rework the spell point warlocks, the Eldritch Knights and Arcane Tricksters, as well as all the other spellcasting core classes that are in 5e. We'll update all of these with the new tech that we have from the revised color mana spell list that's already a part of this bundle. We'll integrate it into the main document. We'll update all the classes, subclass features along with it. We'll add in Strixhaven and Theros. We already have Ravnica in there. And then with the Martial Powers book that we are currently working on included, that will be all 13 classes using the same resource system for individual classes as well as multi-classing, that you'll be able to freely mix spellcasting and martial powers together in any kind of multi-class combination that you want to build any kind of an action loop that you want, or to be able to update your utility abilities to be able to help your team in whatever role that you best fill into your party. And again, everyone using the same mana mechanics. This is perfect for Ravnica, Theros, Strixhaven, Eldraine, anything else that they may come out with in the future. I would love to see an Akora Hollow World sort of Mystara crossed over setting. That would be freaking epic. But just having an engine, a 5e engine that uses the color mana system all on every class, we can then start building out different, like College of Lorehold, or the Guild of Dimir, or the Gods of Iros. You know, whatever we want to build out using Piety, Renown, and the color mana system, we have a lot of flexibility for us to continue expressing Magic the Gathering fantasy through the 5e engine using the same color system that was introduced into Magic the Gathering that we've converted into a spell point system. You can read all about it in the preview down below. If you think this stuff is worth your time, you think it's cool, consider making a purchase to encourage more shenanigans in the future. So, having walked through that spiel, we have the mana system here. It's built off of the half-casting chassis, where you have 5 ranks of power that you gain by 10th level. It has a power die, which operates similar to either an inspiration die from the Bard, or a superiority die from the Battle Master, or a martial arts die from the Monk. It kind of holds, depending on what power you're using, it serves all of those roles with a unified die system that's not going to overshadow any other class that specializes. Like, you can't out-inspire the Bard using this system, but you can use a similar mechanic to inspire yourself and your friends to do different things in and out of combat for any pillar of adventure that you want to key yourself into. You gain powers as you gain levels. You can swap them all out when you gain a level. The actual martials like Barbarian, Fighter, Monk, and Rogue, they can swap out one power on a short rest, or a long rest, and the hybrids like Paladin, Ranger, they can swap out a power whenever they finish a long rest, as well as their full kit of powers or spells, freely mixing between the two every time they gain a level as well. Not only are there powers that you can learn, which are broken down into 5 different disciplines. I'm crash coursing here real quick, so just take the walk with me here real fast. There are 5 different types of powers. There are exploits, which modify die rolls and movement. There are maneuvers, which are either standard or bonus actions to perform, kind of like spell-like abilities, like where you're targeting things and doing different stuff that people have to save from, or you affect things. There's reactions, which are either like opportunity attacks or other types of reactions that you can use. There's strikes, which work like a very wide array of divine smite options that, again, also don't overshadow the paladin, but give you a taste of that paladin's power over time. As well as like shocking grasp sort of effects, or like the weapon mastery stuff gets folded into this, which we already have plans to recalibrate for when we get 1D&D published. And then sustained powers, which are concentration effects. And there's special mechanics that you can use to lock them so that you can't lose concentration, so they become basically a permanized aura on your character, just kind of like an enchantment aura that you would place on a Magic the Gathering creature. You can permanently affect it until it starts until it starts a long rest or becomes unconscious, dies, etc. It can also be dispelled, but they can't be countered. They're not spells. You can't counter spell something that's not a spell. So same sort of effect. There's 140 of these different powers. Normally when we go through the system, as we do the feature breakdown, it becomes pretty evident what sort of powers they should naturally be gaining at 3rd, 5th, 9th, 13th, 17th levels as it breaks down for the time that they get there when they gain their subclass feature. So without further ado, let's tear into this. We have a timer going, and so let's see, where are we at right now? It's 2:07 here in Seattle. Let's just start off the clock on 20 minutes. So let's see how far we get in 20 minutes and see if we're able to break this thing down. So, without further ado, Purple Knight. Hail from the kingdom, Cormyr, fight evil beyond the kingdom's borders, wandering the lands, knight errant, relying on judgment, bravery, fidelity to the code of chivalry to guide them in defeating evildoers. The Purple Dragon Knight inspires greatness in others by committing brave deeds in battle. The mere presence of a knight in a hamlet is enough to cause some orcs and bandits to seek easier prey. A lone knight is a skilled warrior, but a knight leading a band of allies can transform even the most poorly equipped militia into a ferocious warband. A knight prefers to lead through deeds, not words. As a knight spearheads an attack, the knight's actions can awaken reserves of courage and conviction in allies that they never suspected they have. Restrictions: gotta have knighthood. Purple Dragon Knights are tied to a specific order of Cormyran knighthood, but the Banneret serves as a generic name for this archetype if you use it in other campaign settings or to model warlords other than Purple Dragon Knights. You can check out my In Command playlist on my channel here at Phil Kearney to look at the solution that we've been evolving for commanding armies. We also have mechanics for guilds and kingdom leadership, kind of like bastions, but like way more. And as well as all the vehicle mechanics that have created the Spelljammer book that we're illustrating in the morning. So we've got maybe 300 pages of content coming down the pipe over the next 3 or 4 years. It's going to cover all that stuff, and it's going to build a very self-referencing system using 5e mechanics that evolve all of this kingdom building, guild mastery, vehicle combat, as well as downtime skills. We already have the army command. It's all using 5e mechanics, using mechanics that you're already familiar with. I'm really surprised somebody else didn't create this stuff before I did, but apparently that's my destiny, so I will just pursue it to the best of my ability. So check out the shenanigans. It's all in my Patreon link down below. You can check out all the free content that's in playtesting right now if you're interested in any of it. I will be playtesting this martial power system probably at the beginning of, probably like in January at the rollover on the new year. The Spelljammer book will be off my plate. I'll have an easier workload. I'll be able to build in a playtest campaign for us to test this stuff from, like, say, level 3 to 7. And if we're having fun, we're having fun. But if it's a West March game, we can rotate different people in. If you're a member of my Patreon at the $1 or higher level, you will have a vote as to when the weekly game will be played, and you will have first dibs on participating if you're interested. So check that stuff out. Would love to have you. Yeah, so it won't be streamed. It's just going to be off stream, but we're going to be taking notes and focusing on the martial powers ideas. So all the flowers and pretties are out of the way. Generic name, Warlord, Purple Dragon, who cares? So Let's go back into it here. Beep, 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 Banneret. Barbarian. No. Banneret. We'll just leave that label. Okay, great. So, Rallying Cry. When you choose this archetype at 3rd level, you learn how to inspire your allies to fight on past their injuries. When you use your Second Wind feature, you can choose up to 3 creatures within 60 feet of you that are allied with you. Each one regains hit points equal to your fighter level, provided that the creature can see or hear you. You know what? Boopity boop boop. I don't see a problem with that one. That's, I mean, as it is stands alone, I don't need to modify it. There's probably ways I could modify it, but as a standalone thing, I think that's pretty solid. So I'm just going to leave Rallying Cry as is. If there's no reason to change it, I'm not just going to change it to change it. So Rallying Cry. Level. No changes. Grants up. Let's see. Second Wind grants up to 3 allies. HP equal fighter level. That's a pretty great feature. I don't have... If it's not broken, don't fix it, right? So, cheers. Royal Envoy. A purple dragon knight serves as an envoy for the Chimerian Crown. Knights of the high standing are expected to conduct themselves with grace. Okay. At 7th level, you gain proficiency in the persuasion skill, sure. If you already are proficient with it, you gain proficiency in one of the following skills of your choice: animal handling, insight, intimidation, or performance. Your proficiency bonus is doubled for any ability check you make that uses persuasion. You receive this benefit regardless of the skill proficiency you gain from this feature. Your proficiency bonus is doubled for any ability check you make that uses persuasion. You receive this benefit regardless of the skill proficiency. Is doubled for any ability check you make, regardless of the skill proficiency you gain from this feature. Oh, I see. Your proficiency bonus is doubled for any ability check you make, regardless of the skill proficiency you gain from this. Well, you either gain... That's silly, because you're either going to gain the persuasion skill off the bat, or if you already have it, you pick it somewhere else where you already have it. It's just, that's kind of a redundant statement, but it's fine. It's fine. Everything's fine. We're fine. But that's pretty... Whew, boy. That's kind of a shit feature for 7th level. Like, Eldritch Knight gets teleport. This guy gets proficiency. That sucks ass. All right. Well, I mean, hey, it is what it is, right? So, let's see. 7th level, you gain proficiency in a persuasion skill. Yeah, we'll leave it. It's a shitty feature, but there's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing technical that we have to improve about it. But there are free things we can give you on top of it. So, Royal Envoy. 7th level. Boy, what a goose egg of a freaking class feature. Persuasion or... Right. Thank you. Plus you have expertise when using persuasion skill. There. Sure. So let's go to 10th. Inspiring Surge. At 10th level, when you use your action surge feature, you can choose one creature within 60 feet of you that is allied with you. That creature can make one melee or ranged attack with its reaction, provided that it can see or hear you. Starting at 18th level, you can choose 2 allies within 60 feet of you rather than 1. Okay. Also, no need for changes here. Make a melee attack. At 18th level, can choose 2 allies. There. Wow, this one's going quick. Bulwark. So, 15th level. Oh my god, that's all they get? They don't... Oh, all they get is... For 18th level, all they get is a second person for Inspire... My god. This class. It's been a long time since I've looked at this one, and I can see why. What a dog. Okay, well, it is what it is. So, Bulwark, 15th. That's so sad. Let's see. Okay, let's check in on this side. Bulwark. Beginning at 15th level, you can extend the benefit of your Indomitable feature to an ally. When you decide to use Indomitable to re-roll an Intelligence, Wisdom, or Charisma saving throw and you aren't incapacitated, you can choose 1 ally within 60 feet of you that also failed its saving throw against the same effect. If that creature can see or hear you, it can re-roll its saving throw and must use the new roll. Here's a nice kicker we can do with this one. Finally, something fun we can upgrade. Okay, first we're going to start off with cut and pasting. We're going to modify it. Beginning at 15th level, you can extend the benefit of Indomitable feature to an ally. When you decide to use the Indomitable to reroll a saving throw, I don't care what saving throw it is. Having a restriction like that is dumb. Or a saving throw and you aren't incapacitated. Reroll a saving throw. Why? Huh. Okay. I thought you automatically failed saving throws when you're incapacitated without rolling. But whatever. You can choose 1 ally within... I'll have to research that. You can choose 1 ally within 60 feet of you that also failed its saving throw against the same effect. If that creature can see or hear you, it can re-roll saving throws and must use the new roll. If you use any power dice to increase the result of your saving throw using Indomitable, the chosen ally gains can add the results to their saving throw as well. Period. There. Martial powers. Cheers. That was quick. So now we have a crap ton of time for us to build out some powers. I did not anticipate having that so quickly. Let's see how we're going to do. So there's... Okay, so as I discussed there... And I can just get rid of this. Bye-bye. All right, powers. As we said, there's 5 types of powers. Exploits, maneuvers, reactions, strikes, and sustained powers. There are also 2 additional options that we can use as it shows. Hold on, we're here. Okay. So you gain a slew of powers starting at level 1. A martial character starts off with 1 mana. and then it refreshes on short rest. And there are various ways that each of the classes can get additional mana other than their short rest that can cheat them in. Like the barbarian can spend, use a reaction while raging. Can use a reaction if hit with a critical. It can reroll. It can gain power. It can gain lost points back as a result of being hit by that critical. It enrages them, fills them with new power. The fighter can regain mana when they use Second Wind, as well as gaining free mana when they make attacks, and using Action Surge. The rogue can exchange sneak attack dice either during an attack or as part of a downtime task to swap out sneak attack dice to gain extra mana to spend that way. The monk regains... can regain key at the beginning of a combat when they roll initiative. Hey, Alan, it's good to see you, my guy. So there's a number of different ways that you can gain mana, and of course the hybrid, the ranger, the paladin, artificer, those that have the half casting progression, they regain their mana on a short rest, but instead of having 20 at cap, they have 40. So that's a pretty decent basket of points that they can spend. So we have up to, as you gain powers, there are up to 16 powers that you can know at 20th level. You start with 2 of them. You only have 1 mana. That's a severe problem, right? You don't have a lot of resources, but you don't know how long it's going to be until you have a short or a long rest, right? So, hey, John. What? Dungeons and Chronics, what up, my dude? Good to see ya. So the problem with first rank, first level, not having shit for mana, Monk is a classic example of this problem. To a certain extent, so is the Warlock. Interesting feature, though, very quickly the Warlock gets invocations, which allows them to do a lot of like at-will stuff, or like basically gets bonus feats, right? That's like a thing that a Warlock just gets at very low levels. That kind of makes it, yeah, I can use the spell slot, or I can cast a first level spell when it's going to give me the juice that I want. But a lot of the low level Warlock stuff actually comes off of the invocations that they gain, which are basically at will effects or feats. So taking that as inspiration, of course, let's drop down, drop down to our list. So we had the 5 disciplines, but we're going to kick to the end of here because in addition to learning, say, 2 powers at first level and then spending your mana right away on only 1 of them. Alternatively, we can skip past all of these powers and go down into the extra stuff, and there's 2 things we can take instead. Feats. You can take any of these, I want to say it's 20 feats that you can pick from. So instead of learning powers, you can learn feats. If you don't want to fuck around with a mana pool, if that's too complicated, I'm just a simpleton little brand new. I'm overwhelmed with spellcasting options. This is too much for me. Fine. If you don't want to mess around with mana pools and resources like that, you can instead just learn 16 extra feats all through your 20 levels. These are just screw mana. Don't care about resources. I just want to be reliable. Great. Here's a shitload of feats that you can pick up as you wish. So at first level, generally what we do is we look at picking up feats because they're spammable and always useful. And it saves your 4th level feat for you gaining an ASI. Because by 4th level, you're going to have, and I know a lot of you guys have heard this before, but for those newcomers that are out there that are considering whether they want to subscribe or not, by the time you're 4th level, you have 5 powers. So by the time you get your first feat, you could already have 5 extra feats stacked up on your character. So what do you actually want to do with that feat? Bump your strength or whatever it is that needs bumping. That makes the most sense to me. So here's the stack of feats that you have. Cannibalized power, efficient power, and those are new feats. Oh, wait a second. Where is it? I lost it. It's, Power Initiate is a feat. That's not on the list. Let's see. Kicker cost, cannibalizing. What did we call? I got to go back to the list. We have a thing. Hold on. You sustain 2 powers attack in the attack. Continue making range attacks. Not in possession of the creature. There we go. Telekinetic strikes. You can chain. That's it. Chain. Chain strikes. That's right. Hold on. Let's go down to here, and we got our meta creatives. We'll go with chain strikes. How do I want to word this? Requires knowing two strike powers. Requires 5th level. Plus no 2 strike powers. Choose 2 strike powers that you know. When you trigger, when you channel a strike through a successful weapon attack, which includes unarmed strikes. Now we have that noted specifically in the notes up above. When you channel a strike through a successful weapon attack, let's restart my timer. Let's see. Choose 2 strike powers that you know. When you channel a strike through a successful weapon attack, you can channel both chosen strikes together, paying the spending the normal cost for both. You gain the benefit of both strike powers as a single attack. For example, if you chain, let's find a cool power. Let's see. If you choose, let's see. Let's go with Thundering Strike and Tripping Strike. For example, looking for the text. For example, if you chain Tripping, Thundering Strike, and Tripping Strike, if you choose Thundering Strike and Tripping Strike as your chained powers, when you hit with a weapon attack and you can channel 2 mana. You can channel 1 mana for Thundering Strike and 1 mana for Tripping Strike to affect the target with how do I word this? You channel 1 mana for Thundering Strike and 1 mana for Tripping Strike to as part of the same attack. The total mana spent is total. How to word this? A total of 2 mana is spent. So the target is pushed 20 feet. Takes 2 power dice of damage, which can be thunder, which can be weapon, thunder, or weapon damage, your choice. In addition, the target is pushed 20 feet. Thundering strike. 10 feet per mana. And your weapon damage increases by 1 power die per mana burned, and you can knock a creature up to 1 size larger than you or smaller prone. The target must makes a strength saving throw to prevent this, adding the highest power die result to your channeling DC. So that means, oy vey, wordy example, which can be thunder or weapon damage, your choice. In addition, the target is pushed 20 feet and makes a strength saving throw, adding the highest power die result to the DC, or is knocked prone. There. So you chain the two things together. Those are both first rank powers. You chain them together. So when you make a strike, you have to be 5th level or higher, because 2 ranks, 5th level, 2nd rank powers, up to 2 mana channeled. 1 in the thundering strike, 1 in the tripping strike. You hit, you punt him 20 feet, and then he makes a saving throw using the highest die result that you use to add to the DC of the strength check it has to succeed against the trip. So you do 2 dice of damage, you push him 20 feet, and you knock him prone. You had to learn thundering strike, tripping strike, and then you had to chain them together using a meta power feat, either off of your stack of known powers, or at 4, like at 8, it'd be, I guess, 6th or 8th level for the fighter. You would then have a feat that you could learn if you didn't want to gain an ASI for some reason. But at 5th level, you could pick up one of the powers that you know to be chain. So right off the bat at 5th level, you could immediately start chaining 2 powers together whenever you want. A fighter, again, at 5th level, a fighter has 2 attacks. One of the fighter class features that we have detailed is, scrolling back up to the fighter, show don't tell, show don't tell, show don't tell. Empowered strikes, 5th level. Beginning at 5th level, when you take an attack action, succeed with an attack roll, you can forgo any number of remaining attacks during your attack action. During the attack action, to gain an equal number of temporary mana that can be burned immediately, that you can burn immediately to channel a strike power you know. For example, an 11th level fighter has 3 attacks. If the first attack succeeds, you can choose to forego the 2 remaining attacks, channeling 2 temporary mana into strike powers. Or you can forego 1 attack to channel a strike with 1 temporary mana and then make 1 additional attack. Mana in your pool can be combined with the temporary mana to channel these strike powers up to your max channel limit. Any temporary mana not used during the attack is lost. So at 11th level, when you have 3 attacks, if you had Thundering Strike and Tripping Strike chained together, if you hit with your first attack, you could forego your next 2 attacks to gain 2 points of free mana that you have chained together as Thundering Strike and Tripping Strike. So you hit, you punt the guy away, you do an extra 2 dice worth of damage. They get shoved 20 feet and will probably fail their saving throw and fall down. So then they have to spend half of their movement to get back up, and then they have to trudge 20 feet back to you to try to do that again. If you decided to pick up the Sentinel feat and Pam, if they don't have a 10-foot reach to match you, they have to walk within Pam's range to try again, which you could then use Sentinel to trigger a hit, which you could then channel a power into, which you could then chain to then hit them, shove them away, and knock them out again. So if you're using your Sentinel reaction opportunity attack against that one guy, you can keep punting him away from your team and knocking him down over and over and over again. That is pretty effective crowd control, or like that proccing effect that we keep looking for from video games that we want to introduce into D&D. That is a really fun way to do it. Tripping Strike and Thundering Strike, or Tripping Strike and like Shocking Strike. There's a number of different strikes that we can take that eat up action economy from the enemy, and then that Thundering Strike forces them directly away from you, so you can just push them back from whence they came. If you take the Opportunist power, and I'm going to show this off real quick. If you take the there it is. Opportunist. It is I see some text down there. This is a second rank power, Opportunist, which you gain at 5th level. While this power is sustained, when you take the attack action, you can forgo any number of attacks during your turn to gain an equal number of additional opportunity attacks. That can be used to make opportunity attacks for additional opportunity attacks, limit 1 per turn, including your own. That can be used before your next turn. There you go. So if you take the Opportunist, if you have the Opportunist sustained power active, and say you're 11th level, you now have 3 powers, you can just skip, you can like take your attack action, skip your attack action. That sets you up for 3 opportunity attacks. And if you have the Sentinel feat, you got your Pam, you've got your Thundering Strike and your Tripping Strike. Then as guys step into your space, you could decide to strike and trip them, burn 2 of your mana to kick that guy out. The next one comes in, opportunity attack, burn 2 more mana, kick him out, knock him down. Another one comes, burn your 2 mana, knock him down, punt him out of the way. Or you could use off the first opportunity attack. You could burn your other 2 opportunity attacks to collect that mana, and then get your 2 free mana to be able to punt and knock that first guy down for free. So there's a lot of really fun ways you can mix and match these things to build your own, like I keep saying, you can build your own action loop using these different powers, how you couple them together. If you're familiar with Path of Exile, very similar to chaining different power crystals together inside of a weapon to do cool stuff like that. And we have powers all throughout here that let you do shit like that. Text. Alan. A conquest paladin with chained, intimidating, and lifesteal strike sounds nutty. Yes, that is very, very fun. Or like intimidate and goad. So he can only attack you, but he can't approach and he's afraid of you. So he's stuck. He can't go anywhere. He can't do anything. That's a really fun way to set things up. Or like, what's another fun since we're geeking out over this for a second and it was so quick for us to process through the thing. That's kind of a fun thing. Let's see, paralyzing strike, and here's one, bursting strike, which is your damage increases by 1 power die per mana burned. All creatures within 10 feet of the creature hit other than you also take damage equal to the result of the power dice damage. Each creature can make a dexterity saving throw to reduce the damage by half. Here's the question: do we need to make a caveat that prevents using bursting strike with because it's basically within 10 feet of the creature hit. That's all creatures within 10 feet. You know, okay, there's 2 ways we can do this. We can either caveat that because 10 feet area, that's like 1, 2, 8. That's like 20 opponents that you'd potentially be able to Thunder Strike away from you for basically for 4 mana, which is too much action economy. It's too strong. Plus it'd be an extra 4 dice with the damage being kicked out. So that's I feel like that's too strong. So what we can either do is create a caveat that excludes Bursting Strike from being included in the Chaining Strike, or we just reword Chaining Strike so that the primary target that's hit. That's 2 caveat. We're creating an entire caveat paragraph about 1 power Bursting Strike. What that tells me, what we should actually do is convert Bursting Strike into an exploit that stands separately from the strikes. The exploit would be when you hit with a strike, you can use bursting damage, or like we'll call it bursting damage. You can use the bursting damage exploit to deal that same amount. Also take damage equal to the result of the power dice damage. Each creature can make a dexterity saving to reduce the damage by half. So we could change Bursting Strike into an exploit that the exploit triggers when you use a strike power. You can spend 3 mana, and this will deal the power dice to all creatures within 10 feet, but does not incur any additional effects from the strike. They get to save for half. Exploits have a separate channel than strikes. You could potentially, at 17th level, you could dump 5 mana into a strike, and this would allow you to also dump 3 mana into the exploit of making it burst damage. We don't have to worry about any weird caveats. It's self-contained. I honestly like that like a whole lot. Like a whole lot. So I think I'm going to, we have what, 1, 2 delusional strikes here. 1, 2, 3, and then we have 2. So if we move Bursting Strike out of there, I like that idea a lot. Let's go down to exploits. Exploits. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Need 1 more. Empowered Synergy. Okay, we'll swap out Empowered Synergy. First Strike. When you roll initiative, if an enemy is, I love First Strike. If you roll initiative, if an enemy is within range of your weapon attack, make an attack roll against that enemy instead. The result of the roll is your initiative count, in addition to dealing any damage if the attack succeeds. I fucking love that. That is so much fun. It's First Strike because of Magic the Gathering, but we'll go bursting damage. When you channel a strike power as part of an attack, the damage how do I want to word this? The additional... let's just use the language that we have. When you channel a strike power as part of an attack, all creatures within 10 feet of the creature hit other than you also takes damage equal to the result of the power dice damage rolled. That might be redundant, saying rolled. Each creature can make a dexterity saving throw to reduce the damage by half. Very simple. And feels very appropriate. First Strike might not need to be third. What's 9th level? That feels like a pretty good strike. Hyperdonistic, when you make an opportunity attack, you can attack the same creature twice. You can dump so much mana because all exploits are just single instant effects. So I could do a hypertunistic attack and bursting damage on the same strike. Hit the guy twice. And then the burning damage would affect one of those attacks if I hit. If I have opportunist, sorry. That down below, which is a 2-mana a 2-mana channel power. You could potentially, before you even get like one mana strike, you could already be dumping 7 mana into that attack just to do a shitload of damage, plus however much more you want to dump into the strike. Oh God, I love that. I love it. I mean, your potential to burst Nova is high. So if you're really leaning into this stuff, your team's going to want to take that short rest every 2 or 3 encounters because your character's going to be cashed out at that point. But fuck, man, I love this shit. I also like that. Make sure that you spend a lot of mana, but for a nice burst damage on top of the strong damage. Yep, exactly. Yeah, I think bursting damage belongs down here. Oh God, I love doing these reviews, man. Like every time we come and visit here, we just strengthen this project. I just fucking love it. All right, but what we were supposed to be doing was we were actually looking at feats. So the point was, because at very early levels, you don't have enough mana to be able to do a bunch of cool shit. So what's the cool shit that a first level character can do? Pick up some feats. So generally I like to load up feats at the very early levels, but also I like sustained powers because none of these sustained powers have a duration. The duration is for however long you can sustain it. You can keep it up and running. You have to make concentration saving throw. You have to make concentration checks to maintain the thing. And in this system, the concentration checks are expanded out to all saving throws, and the base DC equals 10 plus the amount of mana that you're maintaining concentration for. If you're 17th level with 5 mana cap channel limit, you could have 5 sustained powers and channel all of them at the same time for a total of 5 mana. That'll give you a DC 15 on all saving throws. I mean, like the DC might only be a 14, but if your mana stacked up that you have 5 mana tapped, then you're going to have even though the DC 14 saving throw may succeed against the effect, it's going to make you dump all of your mana because you failed the concentration check off of like a random intelligence saving throw that your fighter has to make because, I don't know, he opened a book or something and then he got, his brain got popped. If you check out the color mana system down below, there's a system called attrition, which is extended duration activities, like reading a book for a long time, tends to make you sleepy. So like you'll have to make an attrition saving throw. I think it's wisdom for like willpower. You'd have to make a wisdom saving throw, and if you fail, then whatever things you're concentrating on get dumped. The same thing with damage. Whatever half your damage is the DC, unless of course the base DC for mana tap is higher. The way to get around that, because fighters and stuff relying on auras to protect them or to do the things that they want to be able to do in their action loop gets fucked up, and you don't have a lot of mana to play with. Especially at first level, you only have 1, so if you screw up once, you're done. So we have the locking mechanic, which we've talked about here a number of times before. Locking mechanic means you no longer have to maintain concentration on it, but you also can't use that amount of mana anymore. So if you're first level, you only have 1 rank of mana. You can only channel 1 mana because you only have first rank. If you lock a first rank power, you can't use any other thing that requires mana because you've locked your only first rank channel. You can no longer channel mana while you have that power locked. So having a bunch of feats, like having 1 sustained power that you can lock, and then like from level like 1 to 5, you'll have 4 powers that you can learn, right? So you could have like 1, maybe 2 sustained effects that you can lock, and then buff out the rest with feats, so that even though you've shut down your ability to channel mana because you've locked up your mana, you can still do all that cool crap with your feats if you want. So that's the way that we generally work at the very, very low levels. First and third level, like first through fourth level, basically. You lean on those things unless you like want to have an exploit or a maneuver or something special to what your character is doing that you specifically want to get access to. But you can use those feats to avoid using a power budget. You can use sustained powers and feats to maximize your budget through efficiency, doing optimization. If you're into the optimization game, Or you can just pick up exploits, powers, and stuff like that because you think they're cool, and your game has an established session 0 where you know you're going to be getting short rests. Like there's a pact between your table and the DM that we're going to build short rests into the game so that everyone can actually make use of their resources. That's actually something that you have to lay out in your session 0. Otherwise, it's going to get stepped over, and the players can just throw up a flag. Like, you're saying we get session 0s like every 3 encounters, for instance. Now, we want our short rest, and it's like the DM has to take that into account. But that's DM philosophy, which we generally talk about on Mondays and Thursday nights. So, like, subscribe, hit the bell icon to get more fun little tidbits like that. But right now, we are building out our Banneret. So let's start with a first rank sustained power that we can pick up. What would be fun? Let's see. Ranged isn't so much what a paladin is going to do, or a Banneret would do. Swift assessment. You can add your proficiency bonus when you're making an ability check that can use the perception or insight skill. If you are already proficient with either skill, you instead add the bonus twice as though you have expertise in these skills. In addition, you can make wisdom and intelligence, perception, or insight checks once during each of your turns as a bonus action, including the turn you channel this power. That's not horrible. For a field commander, that's not bad. Is there something more savvy, though? I mean, power armor and power shields. You're going to be wearing armor anyway, so that's not really for you. Omnilinguist that's more of a ribbon. That's like a freebie ribbon thing, but I wouldn't give it to a Banneret. Fast, your walking speed increases. Proficiency in a skill or tool of your choice. You channel it more than once, choosing a different skill or tool with each channeling. Inspired skill is awesome, by the way. If you're planning on a lot of downtime activity, you can, like the fighter, the barbarian, the rogue, the monk, whenever they take a short rest, they can swap out one of the powers that they know. So, like, if you know you're not going to be doing any combat, like, you could let go of Thundering Strike right now and instead pick up, like, Investigator. So you gain proficiency and insight, investigation, perception skills during that for however long you want it, and then when you take your next short rest, you can then swap that out and get your Thundering Strike back if you're going to dive back into the dungeon. Super way to optimize martial characters to be able to really lean into helping out in the social and exploration pillars, because they're going to have all these skill resources available that they can ramp up their die rolls with. Comes in super useful. So far I'm thinking that Swift Assessment is the best pull for this. And of course, if you guys check in the Patreon link down below that I showed at the beginning of the stream, you can pick up and walk through this document with me. And if anyone comes up with a better idea, I'm certainly willing to listen to it. There's not a lot. There's only 38 sustained powers across 4 ranks of power. 4, not 5. It caps at 4 at 13th level. 17th level is just basically bonus mana. But there's only 38 of them right now. When we get this book finished, we can start doing all sorts of sick shit, like the Book of Boros, the Book of Witherbloom, the Book of Erebus. We can build out different kits based off of different MTG themes. I can either put them on Patreon, or I can actually build them into a book and publish them on DMsGuild if I wanted to. But hey, comment. A lot of mana. Oh no, I was wrong. No new comment. Yeah, I think I'm going to go with Swift Assessment. I think that would come in handy. It's not the most powerhouse feature, I know. Hey, there's text. Notice that the Cavalier subclass gained the skilled feat, but the feat is not on the list of feat of powers. Is that correct? That actually is correct. I need to go back and fix that. I need to go through and edit again. The skilled feat gives you 3 proficiencies, and you could just stack up on like 6 or 7 skilled feats using this, and you just be proficient with everything. I think that takes away too much identity from the bard and the rogue, and we have the Inspired skill. We have the inspired skill feature. So that was, you said that was up in Cavalier. Thank you for spotting that. Very much appreciated. I need to swap that out and instead replace it with the inspired skill. Thank you. Depending on where it's at, it should be fine. But Cavalier, thank you. I do a document-wide sweep like every 2 or 3 months just to go over everything, and we're still inside that frame. Skill, we'll go with inspired skill. Thank you. I do not mind having that stuff called that at all. We are all just trying to build a better book here, and I'm certain that I would catch that after the second or third pass through, but you never know. I could miss it. I'm down in the monk. That's too far. Come on, buddy. Get back on point. Thank you. Thank you. There is, I'm pretty sure that's where we're at there. That's, oh yeah, I want to go down to here. What up? Rally makes so much sense. Yes. Yes, Rally's a great one. We'll get into that one. That is a maneuver, right? Great thing about maneuvers is you can use them as a bonus action or as a standard action, but you can use it twice in the same round. So there's rare instances where that's a great idea, but sometimes that's a great idea. There it is, Rally. You or your ally, you can see that that can see or hear you gains a number of temporary hit points equal to the total of 1 power die rolled for each point of mana burned. And since it's second rank, no, it's first rank, but like you could burn up to 5 mana and give them at 17th level, it's a D10. You can give up to 5 D10 bonus mana. You or an ally, you can see or hear gains a number of temporary hit points equal to the total of 1 power die rolled. That I think would fit most appropriately around the royal. No, the is it? Where the hell was it? There it is. The rallying cry at third. So rallying cry. That's funny. Yeah, rally's actually a pretty good one. We could. I want to keep it low. At 5th level, let's go with rally. Maneuver 1. I still want a feat at 3rd level because you have so little mana at that starting point. I want to grab a feat that's going to make sense for this character. Let's see. Chef. No! Defensive duelist, dual wielder, efficient, great mana, keen. Ooh, what does Keen Mind do? So, that's a great question. Let's find out. I don't trust Wiki to not have changed that. Keen Mind. I don't trust D&D to actually lead me to it. Keen Mind. Fuck all, dude. I can't. I am D&D Beyond. I am infinitely disappointed that D&D Beyond has such poor SEO. Keen Mind. We'll check out Inspiring Leader. It should be there. If it isn't, great reason to add it in. You do not gain the stat modifier when you gain a feat this way. That's a caveat that I believe we already have included in the text. You have a mind that can track time, direction, and detail. Oh, yeah, I know this one. Right. Know which way it was north. Number of hours left before sunrise sunset. Accurately recall anything that you've seen or heard and within the past month. Let's look at, what is it, Inspiring Leader? FGHI. Okay, let's check it out. Let's see what it is. Maybe it belongs on the list. And thank you for pointing this out. You can spend 10 minutes inspiring your companions, shoring up their resolve to fight. When you do so, choose up to 6 friendly creatures, which can include yourself, within 30 feet of you who can see or hear you and who can understand you. Each creature can gain Temporary hit points equal to your level plus charisma modifier. A creature can't gain temporary hit points from this feat again until... that's... Yeah, okay. That's... Thematically, that's fucking perfect. Nice find. Gold star, my man. Thanks, Alan. But yeah, that absolutely belongs in there. And that was the perfect fit. So we're already starting to build in the route. We don't have to go with specific levels when we gain up. That's the great thing about this. We have fluidity to just pick up whatever makes the most sense to add in as you continue to gain levels. Like rally is something that, like that rallying cry, obviously, is what you get at 3rd level. It really I think it really starts to ramp at 5th level, and you have enough mana at 5th level to actually realistically want to use it on top of the Inspiring Leader feat. Yeah, I'm really happy with that. Let's find something else. God, there's so much goodness in here. Like I love how, I mean, slap myself on the back. Don't mind me, break my arm here, but I love how adding the bonus power list lets you find things that like you might not want to spend your chosen known powers to learn. But between the 16 powers that you learn and the 10 bonus ones that you gain, that is a shitload of options available to your character to kit out. And you can keep swapping them out as either a short or a long rest. Oh, God, the flexibility. That is how you make martial characters quadratic, my man. That is how they get quadratic. Like, that gives you very equal setting. Especially like up to 13th level, that gives you some pretty fair ground against a full caster. God, I love that. So let's dive into, at 5th rank, we have access to 2nd rank stuff. So let's see if there's any cool sustained powers that we want to pick up. I mean, having a huge sized commander throwing out orders is awesome. But then, so is, the telepathy feat. That's a pretty good one. But I wouldn't necessarily, I mean, you can just pick that one up if you want it. It's not a given go-to, but it's a great commander thing to have. Mind sense, not specifically. Opportunist. It's a command character. It's a sergeant at arms. It's a field commander. Opportunist doesn't quite feel right. Opportunist is a great frontline tank option. Astute. When sustaining this power, gain advantage on intelligence and wisdom checks. Oof. That's not horrible. It's not ideal, but it's not horrible. Deadly presence. When this power is sustained and you are not restrained, stunned, paralyzed, or incapacitated, any creature you can see that begins its turn or moves within reach of your melee attack takes 1 power die of damage per mana sustained. That's a frontline fighter sort of thing. Castigation. When you channel this power, choose a creature you can see. You always know which direction the chosen creature is while it remains on the same plane of existence as you. In addition, when you make a melee attack against the chosen creature, you deal 1 additional power die of damage. No, I mean, that's an incredibly Ranger-esque or Blood Hunter sort of idea. Yeah, okay, I don't think there's going to be anything specifically in these sustained powers that just screams Banneret. So let's bounce out of there and move down into the 2nd rank here to see what else we might pick up. Intimidating strike, that's not bad. Your damage increases by 1 power die per mana burned, and the creature is frightened of you until it loses line of sight of you, or you are incapacitated. The creature can attempt to end this effect at the end of each of its turns by succeeding a wisdom saving throw. Intimidating Strike is not a bad one. It feels more like 9th level, though. That's a 2nd rank strike, right? Yeah. Text. Deadly Presence might be fun. Yeah, I mean, if you're a frontline, that's actually, yeah, if you're a frontline soldier, that's not bad. Like leading from the front, Deadly Presence. That locks up all of your mana, all of your channels at 5th rank. So I'm not necessarily excited about it being at 5th level. I like to have a little bit of buff inside of there. At 9th rank, at 9th level you can channel up to 3. So if you were to lock Deadly Presence, that would allow you to still have a point of mana open to use other things with. So I think I want to find a lower. Jeez, crack the click throughs. Coordinated attack and dash sound great too. Coordinated attack and dash. I believe those are both maneuvers. Let's go check them out. Let's see. Coordinated. There it is. Coordinated. You're looking at coordinated attack and also coordinated dash. Yeah, let's check that out. You can empower a target ally within 30 feet of you to use their reaction to make an attack, rolling 1 power die per mana channeled, adding the highest result to the allies to use their reaction to make an attack. Rolling 1 power die per mana channeled, adding the highest result to the allies' attack against a target you and your ally can both see. Coordinated dash. You can empower 1 ally that you can see or hear per mana burned to use their reactions to move up to half your speed without provoking. Yeah, you're right. Those are both really good. Let's go with coordinated attack, which is maneuver 1. That's maneuver 1, right? There's no way that's the 2nd rank. Yeah, 1st rank. Man, I'm so tempted to push Rally back to have both coordinated attack and dash on the same set, but I think I'm going to leave it like that. Deadly Presence sits nice. Intimidating Strike is appropriate at 9th level. I don't know. What do you think? Attack or dash would be better? Let's do dash. Let's do dash first and then get attack later. Super cheap. That's going to open us up to 3rd and 4th rank shit, though. So let's check out what's going on. Rally is, yeah, maneuver 1. Pack tactics. When you channel this maneuver, target a creature you can see. Other creatures gain advantage to hit that target until the beginning of your next turn. Pack tactics isn't bad. 2nd rank. These things fill up quick, man. Where are we at? Hour and 15. We're almost done here, and that'll end our session. So let's go look. Let's go again. Look for. Wow, we've only picked up 1 strike so far. That's great. That is great. Let's see. Let's see some higher rank. Sustained powers. We're currently looking at 17, so we have the entire book open to us at this point. What is some fun shit at the higher end that we might want to throw in? I don't do high-end stuff often unless it's like super thematic. Like Frenzied Attack, Indestructible. Ooh, Master of Fate. That's kind of off flavor of the language, but when you trigger this power, roll 320 D20 Fate dice. When you later roll a d20 while this power is sustained, you can choose to replace the results of any one of these fate dice. Each fate die can be used once, While this power is sustained, you can burn 1 point of mana as a bonus action during your turn, ignoring your max channel limit to do so, to roll an additional fate die, replacing any results or regaining an expended fate die. Unused fate dice are lost when the power is dismissed. Oh man, that's it's cool, but it's like very rogue oriented in my opinion. I don't think any one of these are like particularly scream Banneret. Like, we're looking for things that fit the theme of the subclass that might not necessarily like be obvious gotta have it's. Like the gotta have it things are you tend to leave as something for the player to spend their own resources on. Like, you get your 16 free powers. If you want to have Master of Fate, you can freaking burn it yourself. You have 14 of them at 17th level. That's on you. We want to give you like the B and C tier list options that are flavorful, that you might otherwise overlook because they're not optimal, right? But are there and useful when they come up. And I think for the most part, we've executed that. I think we've had a couple OP options that we've added in, but we're incredibly on theme. Daunting Presence. While sustaining this power, attack rolls against you are made with disadvantage, and when you are the only target of an effect that requires you to make a saving throw, roll with advantage. Huh. That's expensive, but it's pretty damn good. Quick, Opportunist, Mind Sense, and we already looked at these. Deadly Presence, Close Quarter, Cloud Strider, Auto Tune. Man, none of these are really just jumping out at me as must-haves. Daunting Presence isn't bad, though, but I don't think we're really hurting for options, especially since we're still picking at the really low-end fruit. So let's go back down into exploits and see what's hanging out down there that we might want to consider grabbing hold of. And then we'll be done for the day. And then we'll come back. We'll do the Rune Warrior next week. That'll be fun. Oh man, I'm really looking forward to seeing how we translate the Rune Warrior. I suspect we're going to be bending into our artificer options with the Rune Warrior. I'm kind of excited about that. Cooperative effort. That sounds like an exploit. Oh, there it is. When using the help action to grant advantage to the ability check or attack of an ally within 30 feet of you, roll 1 power die per mana channel, adding the highest result to the ally's down roll. Yeah, and it requires the help action too, which I freaking love. So yeah, cooperative effort's really good. Let's go with that. Cooperative efforts is a maneuver too, and again, that's it's the help action. So when using the help action, so that kind of locks you in as an action only. I think there might be classes. I think there's options out there that allow you to use help action as a bonus action. I think there's subclass features out there that do that. But yeah, that's a really good one. Let's see. Like Hypertunistic is a great frenzied berserker sort of thing to add on. So is Unstoppable. Assassination isn't really on flavor for Banneret. Precise attack, phase attack, and power. When you use a power, nah. Cooperative effort. Unnerving focus when you make an ability check that can use the intimidation check, or while rolling to determine if you maintain concentration. Roll 1 power die per mana channel. See, this unnerving focus would be an absolute must-have if we didn't have locking. Like, if you're going to lock your shit, then you don't need unnerving focus. If you don't lock your mana down, it's because you don't care if it gets lost. So unnerving focus is kind of a mana tax to keep something that you probably don't really care if you keep or lose anyway. So, but like for example, inspiring skill. Like, a lot of times there's no reason that you're going to need to make a saving throw while you're conducting social encounters. So having inspiring skill to pick up, persuasion, for instance, is something you don't have to really lock. But if you get zinged with something, then it's just expending resources that makes it difficult for you. What about resilience? When you're making a saving throw, you can roll 1 power die per mana channeled, adding the highest result to your adding the highest roll to your result. Well, I mean, commanding presence. When making an ability check that can use the, or the persuasion skill. Roll 1 power die per mana channel, adding the highest results. I think that might be it. I think commanding presence is the one. Yeah, I think that's the one. Commanding presence, exploit 1. Okay, so here's the thing. You can pick up any of these powers whenever they become like, you could have commanding presence as one of your chosen skills as early as one of your chosen powers as early as level 1. By the time you get to level 17, they give it to you for free. So then you just stop paying for it out of your known list and free up that slot for something else because you just gained commanding presence. So in that sense, I don't really mind when things come online because you can always just pick them up. And then it just becomes a benefit. It's like, yeah, I love commanding presence. Well, great. Now it's free and you can pick something else instead. Like, that's just added value there. You're never losing anything as a result of having these things. I think people overlook that on spell list selections, on the bonus spells that spellcasters get for their subclasses. But that really can't be spoken highly enough. That it's just an extra thing that you get. Like, you always have access to this. This is yours. So then the final question is, do we want to rearrange any of these things? God, they're all first and second rank powers. I love that. I love that. But I think we're okay. In the future, we might want to consider shuffling things around a little bit. Thief. Yeah, and then Sin of War intentionally gets the skilled feat. There you go. And this is for the Battle Master. I love that. Okay, cool. So that takes care... Oh, wait. We got one, and then we got someplace else. Oh, this is like way down at the end. Okay, so that fits. This is stuff like at the back end, looking at just different ideas and stuff that we've scrapped around and played with. But that's all there in the playtest document for you guys to thumb through and check out. So I am really excited about the Rune Warrior next week. It gives me an opportunity to talk about the artificer, creating power gear, which is all down here, miscellaneous gear that you can create, and the system, the scaling system we use with item rarities, a random gear generator that we have here, and then samples, Fellhammer. Shit's cool as fuck, man. Super fun stuff. Treads of the Mountain Goat. It's fun. We only have a couple of these things built out right now, but we could build out like maybe 10 or 11 of them and just add them in as like gear, as like just power gear as a separate chapter. Power gear. So, but oh wait, the funny thing is doing Banneret with this is just going to be 400 times better than normal Banneret. Exactly. There are no bad subclass options using this power. It's just a clip-on system. You can, you could decide that you only want to have this available for the Banneret, or you only want to use this like with the Side Warrior, or you could decide that like you don't want to use this for barbarians, leave barbarians alone, or like you might say like this should be for monks alone. Like you can opt in to using as much or as little as you want, but we built it to be all encompassing. So again, all 13 classes in the game use the same mana system that we built down in the color mana spell point variant rules bundle that we have on DMsGuild. So all this stuff, it's once this book is published, we add it to this bundle. not only is everything going to be basically 40% off, but we're going to have just one cohesive system to be able to express color mana inside of Dungeons and Dragons for people that are MTG enthusiasts. I am excited about that. Extremely excited about that. It is worth the time and the effort that we're taking here to build this thing right. I am excited. I'm looking forward to the play testing that we're going to be doing in the new year. It'll be from level 3 to 7. It's going to be like a hex crawl, dungeon crawl sort of thing. So we like random stuff at you. So it's just basically going to be like building the story. It's just going to be a hex crawl campaign. If you've never been in a hex crawl West March, jump into my Patreon, jump on board for the $1 mark. That'll get you into the votes, and it will give you first seat right of refusals, so that Patreons are the first people that'll have access to being part of the. You'll get to help pick of the options that are available to me. Which of those days y'all vote if you care. Anyone that's on board can vote to see which day it's going to be, and then again, if you're bought in and you've said that you want to be on the roster, then you'll have first seat anytime that you show up in the West March. So that's what we're doing for now. We're done for the day. I feel like only a masochist would play better than martial powers. Well, I mean, hey, martials in general get the really, really short end of the stick. It's that quadratic growth of spellcasters versus linear growth of fighters, or martials in general. Because without a power system like this, martials are basically stuck with whatever feats they pick up, which never change, and whatever their subclass features are, which also very rarely change. So by adding a power system in like this, that gives you a resource that blends perfectly with multi-classing into spellcasters. Like spellcasters get much bigger batteries than what channelers gain. But spellcasting and channeling are completely unrelated. The only thing that mixes is their mana pool. So you could take 17 levels of sorcerer and say like 3 levels of fighter, and you'll end up having something insane like 93 mana, but you'd only be limited to first rank powers and 9th level spells. So it's like, yeah, squeezing in a little power here and there onto a spellcasting character is costing them mana, because it's coming off the back end. Like in the 4th tier, full casters are getting like 4 or 5 mana per level. If you want to give up 15 mana so that you can pick up a couple powers that you can only spend 1 mana on a piece because you're not 5th rank, you're not 5th level as a martial character, you are very much hamstringing your own ability to do stuff as a full caster. Less battery, less spell resources, but you do gain a little bit of martial protection. So like if your campaign isn't going past like 9th level, it's actually a pretty decent option to be able to curve that stuff in together with each other. Anyway, that's the bits. So it's just, hey, right on. Hey, Goblin Lord. I feel you're... I've checked out Fabula Ultima a bit. I'm not ultra familiar with it yet, but I've thumbed through it very vaguely. So yeah. I'm familiar. I'm familiar with what it is, but I'm only passingly familiar with what it can do at this point. I like how it combines different was it like insight and might, and then you add those together to have like an intuitive attack sort of thing going on. It does cool stuff. It actually kind of reminds me of Cypher system a little bit. But yeah, I'll have to check out Fabula a little bit more. It might be something I could get into in the future. But Goblin Lord, man, I wish I saw you sooner. Our day is basically over. So funny thing is, oh yeah, you were jumping in all the way up here. I can't read so good, so badass that you guys are here, man. We're done for now. Currently, we're only doing this once a week. When the Spelljammer book gets finished, that we stream art for that Monday through Friday in the mornings as part of my morning coffee stream. Once that book is done, the Eberron project is going to move off of the Monday, Thursday night and will rack into the Monday through Friday morning slot. And that means that we'll have Monday, Thursday, and Tuesdays for us to work on martial powers and other mana systems, like the spell point sorcerer, for example, is like 75% done. I just have to do some cleanup and devote time to actually building, to structuring it. It's like we could spend our Tuesday lunches building the sorcerer system, and then stick with Mondays and Thursday nights for the martial powers. But then we're going to have the play testing that we're going to do as soon as Spelljammer comes off my plate. So then we'll have probably like Monday, Thursday, or Saturday will be the day that we can run play testing for the martial power system. So, oh man, I am excited. Thanks a lot, guys, for being here. I'm really excited how much interest people have in this, how fun it is, with the cool kind of crap we can build with it. So anyway, like, subscribe, hit the bell icon. I'm here 6 days a week doing 10 to 12 different things at a time. Love having you guys around, and I appreciate everybody that jumped in. So I'll see you guys on the other side. I'll be back tomorrow morning. Bye.